G'day ladies and gents, welcome to War Thunder with Mags. Well, today's video is called Murphy's Law. For those of you who don't know, Murphy's Law is anything that can possibly go wrong, does. And that's the theme for today's video. Not a single battle that I took part in of the three that I will be showing you today was a victory. But all of them were worth showing. Now we're starting today's video in the F4U-1C, battle rating 5, 420mm cannons, 924 rounds of ammunition, and a good overall aircraft. It has an excellent dive speed, and it's got decent manoeuvrability as well. When it has energy up, its initial turn speed is actually comparable to that of a Zero for the first half turn. That half turn, however, will blow all of its energy, and from that first half turn it will be outmanoeuvred. But this capability of performing a high energy 180, it gives it the ability to pull onto the tail of aircraft very rapidly in a way that most pilots wouldn't expect. When performing this manoeuvre, however, the pilot needs to realise that he will be in a low energy state upon completion, so he'll only have a very limited window to fire shots before the target he is pulled onto pulls out of range. So I've side climbed to 17,000 feet, I'm on altitude with the Yak-9 and two Yak-3s, but I have a Spitfire, a Mark 1 Mustang and a XP50 on altitude with me at the moment, so I'm in a pretty good position so far. The Yak-9 is diving on the XP50, forcing it down, but the Mark 1 Mustang is in pursuit, so I'm not going to worry about that fight too much. That's a 2-on-1 engagement already, no reason to be there. This other Yak-3, however, is sitting above our Typhoons. It's preventing our Typhoon and our P-51 from getting any higher altitude. Since I have altitude and position on it, I'm going to move in and attempt to eliminate it first. I am taking monitor of that other Yak-3 that is now above me, however. Gentle dive for 2,000 feet just to get my airspeed up over 500 kilometers an hour for rapid interception. Our Typhoon did try and burst climb up, but has had to dive away, but he's bringing the Yak-3 down into position. Moving to try and clear his tail. Pushing 600 on interception, first shots go past, no connection, but it does force him to break off. Pull back on the throttles and stand on the elevators, try and 180 around. Yak-3 dives through, so roll the plane. Re-half loop. I've lost it in the blackout at the moment, I'm trying to track where the target has gone, he's beneath me again. So once again, step it down. The elevator authority on the Corsair allows it to perform these turns very, very tightly, allowing me to keep up with the Yak-3. While not right on it at all times, I'm always behind him. He's not getting the opportunity to put his guns on me. Now, while I am sacrificing a lot of altitude here, the rest of the Russian team is on the deck. The Yak-3 that was remaining at altitude was being engaged by two Spitfires, so I'm not too concerned at this point. Take a lead. Good hit. 180 again. Slot in on the target's tail. He goes into a climb. Just trying to get the elevation right. Take the lead. And that's it. My kill. Now the burst climb has put me right on the stall point of the aircraft, so tipping it back over under 100 kilometers an hour, so that was very risky, but you can see the elevators bring the plane's nose straight back down, take it back into a dive to re-accelerate out past 400 kilometers an hour. Move on next target. Now I drop in on this Yak, trying to get a position to clear my teammate's tail, but I did spot off in the distance there a 3 flight of LA-7s coming in. Now those things are a problem. But at the moment they're still about 5k's out, so I have time. Now moving on this Yak-9, obviously he's taken out the XP50, and that's the Mustang Mark 1 that was diving on it before. I've just got to try and rescue him. Sparks, critical hit, there we go, target is down. First LA-7 is already here. It's covered 5k's very quickly. But I take the lead. Critical hit. Third kill. Now it's at this point that I look up at the radar. I realise I've got 3 fighters on my tail. Where's the rest of my team? Oh, they're all dead. There are 3 LA-7s on my tail and a Spitfire that's remaining on my team. And that is it. Where'd the rest of the team go? They just got destroyed. So at over 400 kilometers an hour, throw it into a high energy 180 at 2 kilometers range. That allows me to get my guns pointing back in the right direction. I'm going to pass underneath the first LA-7. The second one is already pulled around behind. Snap it over 90 degrees, and I want to take it into a half loop and then aileron roll part way through. This allows him to overshoot, but allows me to get enough of a position to be able to dive back to re-accelerate and fall in on his tail. Try the lead, get a hit. Trying again, but he's pulling out of range now. I'm having trouble hitting him. However, our Spitfire is about to be engaged by that LA-7, but I've lost track of the third LA-7. I don't know where it's gone. Bring the plane around, and here comes the shots. It had gone straight over the top, rolled over, and slotted in behind me. Now, as you can imagine, our Spitfire died a few seconds later, but fair play to him, that was good shooting by the LA-7. So, results for the match was first place for the team with 3 kills and a death. But this is a bit where I was shocked. The whole team only got 4 kills in total. That was it. 3/4 of the team's kills were mine. Our rewards were Fighter Rescuer, Multi-Kill X2, Win Streak X3, Terror of the Sky, Balancer, and, well, with a team like that, even the MM decided to award me a 75,000 Silver Lion Battle Trophy as compensation. Results for credits was 115,005 Silver Lions with the trophy and 2,209 base RP, but since this plane is fully spaded and all my aircraft are researched in the US tree, that was 2,229 RP that went straight into my almost 22 million pool of convertible. So what happened? Well, the answer is I don't know. The last I saw of my team in bulk, we were in a fairly advantageous position. We had altitude on almost everything except one aircraft. We were all in the right spots. I don't know what happened. But anyway, moving on to the next match. Now, this is a plane that's been getting a lot of requests come in, the F9F-2 Panther. Now, I've actually copped a little bit of flack recently for suggesting that players should try and get the P80 rather than the F9F-2 as their first jet if they're progressing down the US tree, because the P80 is a piece of crap, and I agree, it is a piece of crap. But this match is why I suggest it over the F9F-2. So as we watch this beautiful dual aircraft takeoff here, and this was cool. First things to note, this aircraft is completely stock. I've only flown a handful of matches in the F9F-2 in total. So my performance in the plane is not influencing my matchmaking, as I have not had enough battles in the plane for it to do so at this time. The allied team in this match is a F8 Meteor, an F4 Short Wing Meteor, an F86 A5, and the rest of the planes in the match are all F9F-2 Panthers. Now, with this sort of matchmaking, or this sort of team, you would expect the enemy team to consist of either a MiG-15 Biz or a CL-13A, probably a couple of MiG-15s, non-Biz variety, LA-15s, probably some 262s thrown in for the mix as well. Nah. Watch how rapidly these planes get to us. We're 60 seconds into the flight, I'm just clearing the runway, I'm still within line of sight, and keep in mind that this could potentially be the first ever jet match that a pilot that's just unlocked the F9F-2, his first jet, ever encounters. First target's up, CL-13A. Well, that's alright, we expected one of those. Second target, German MiG-15 Biz. Third target, CL-13A. It's taken them 2 minutes to take off and cross the entire match. We're not even out of line of sight of our runway and we're already being intercepted. The enemy team in this match consisted of one LA-15, one ME-163, 4 CL-13s, one standard MiG-15 Biz, and the rest of the team was a mix of German and Russian MiG-15 Biz. And how much of a slaughter was it? Well, this match is already half over. Now, why do matchups like this happen? Well, I'm going to compare against World of Tanks again, because it's got the closest equivalency in this type of matchmaking and this type of game. What World of Tanks Matchmaker does is tries to take tanks from the waiting queue and put comparable tiers versus comparable tiers. So if one team has 5 tier 10 tanks, the other team will have 5 tier 10 tanks. If they've got 3 tier 9 tanks, the other team will have 3 tier 9 tanks. Of course, this isn't always possible to make permanently, so what it does, if there is only, say, 11 tier 10 tanks in queue, it puts 5 onto one team, 6 onto the other, but will give the team with less tier tanks 1 to 2 extra tier 9s to balance it out. So the team with the more tier 10s is likely to wind up with more tier 8 tanks to finalise the match. making the comparable weight values of both teams equal. War Thunder has no such system in place. It should have, but it doesn't. As a result, the game takes whatever is within the acceptable battle range, and considering the problems with the matchmaker, under-tiered and over-tiered aircraft, there's a rather large mix of strange aircraft within those comparable battle ratings. Aircraft that should not be facing one another, but it scoops out whatever it can find and just dumps two teams out of it. Now, Gaijin does it this way to try and make the matchmaking fast, but here's the thing. Do you want to play this match? How much fun do you think this match is for either team at the moment? One team is slaughtering without challenge. They've already annihilated half the allied team at almost no losses to themselves. We, the allied team of course, we're getting slaughtered. Would you be willing to wait an extra 2 or 3 minutes in queue to not have to play this match? I know I would. Now I'm trying to chase down this MiG-15 as fast as I can. I'm going to try and provide backup to our F-86A. MiG-15 goes over into a loop. Now the Panther is manoeuvrable, and these guys, well, this is the thing. These guys, this wasn't a particularly good or skilled enemy team. They're fighting at low altitudes, and they're trying to turn fight against superior and far more manoeuvrable aircraft. They're not incredibly skilled pilots, but they won this match by the sheer performance capabilities that their planes have. And there's the CL-13A coming to end my time in this match. In a way I was grateful. It meant I didn't have to continue flying it. So, boom. So on to our third and final match of the day, and not to be discouraged, I'm once again out in the F9F-2. Now for those of you on the grind to unlock the F9F-2, or have just unlocked the F9F-2 as your first jet, this is pretty much the best matchmaking you can hope for. This is still a CL-13/MiG-15 biz match. However, you have just as many F-86, F2, F-25 and F-30 Sabres on your team. The numbers are comparable. This is the kind of matchmaking that the matchmaker should be making as default. This is the kind of match it should always be putting together at bare minimum. To add to that, the players on both teams skill-wise were comparable. They're pretty good overall. Some excellent pilots all around. This battle did go to the combined Russian-German forces, but it was a good fight. Everybody put in their effort, and it did come down to the wire at the end. So once again, climbing out over the mountains, just passing towards 5,000 feet, trying to get both my airspeed and my altitude up to an acceptable level. I tend not to climb too high with the F9F Panther. Its high altitude performance is not as good as the MiG-15 or the CL-13s. Even its manoeuvrability suffers a little bit at altitude, and its dive speed, being straight-winged, is not as high as those aircraft. So once you get up there, you are sort of trapped with a bunch of aircraft that outperform you and are able to outdive you if you try to escape. So I aim at around 10 to 12,000 feet at maximum, as opposed to the 20,000 that I would take the MiG-15 or the Sabre. Low altitude fights are where it's at with the Panther, so I want them to come to me. If I go to them, I'm going to get my teeth kicked in, so I want them to come to where I want to fight them, where I'm going to have my maximum advantage, and hopefully be able to take a couple of them out. So the first MiG-15 has been sighted in the centre field. There's already an F-86F engaging him. A second F-86 is on the way. That fight's covered for the moment. I can take my time trying to get myself into position before I begin the engagement. However, the lead F9F has spotted a second MiG-15 straight ahead, so I dip the nose, try and get the airspeed up as much as I can and get ready to engage. 2 kilometres out, bring it down to 1, snap it over, just cannot quite get the guns to lead enough, but I'm tracking him as he turns back, shots through, and a good solid hit. Now what's interesting here is that was just recorded as a hit, not critical damage, but as you'll see in a few moments as I close in, I've actually blown the MiG-15's engine out. It's still pulling away at the moment. It's on the last legs of its thrust now, but nowhere near as fast as you would expect a MiG-15 to be able to pull away. And then I start winding its range back in, back under 1 kilometre, I dipped the nose down to accelerate myself, just in case he was deliberately slowing down. I didn't want him to suddenly put the thrust on, keep my airspeed up so I have manoeuvring and speed capabilities. But as you can see, his engine's out. So just take the lead, finish the shot, first kill. This is something that's probably worth considering amongst new players. I'm sure older players have noticed it as well, but I have seen around Era 3, Era 4, you'll regularly see aircraft that take a hit and then the pilot seems to eject out afterwards, or the plane just crashes. And there's sometimes a bit of abuse thrown around in chat about people, you know, just bailing out because they can't win a fight, or cowardice, and just some generally unnice stuff. It's probably worth keeping in mind that that was a critical hit that didn't record as a critical hit, so how many of those people are bailing out because their plane has been shattered and they can't continue to fight, and it just hasn't shown up as you achieving a critical strike. So again, taking it back down to the deck, trying to get as much airspeed up as I possibly can. 2 MiG-15s in front, one has gone high. I cannot follow that plane. I do not have the speed, I do not have the energy retention, but I can try and follow the second one. Second one pulls up, third one is too far away, but one of the AI is directly in front. So, you know what, I'm going to take that kill. I've got plenty of ammo to spare. Take the lead. Critical strike, blown off its elevators and its control surfaces. Now just peel out of the area. Where did those jets go? Now there's still two up high. I'm just going to loop back, keep my airspeed back up, and then turn back into the fight. As I said before, I want them to come to me, not me go to them. If I go to them, I'm going to die. I spotted a MiG-15 diving low, so I bring the plane back around. Makes a pass underneath. I locked the wrong target, but that's alright. He cuts through a little bit too quickly, but a second MiG-15 is passing through. Not quite enough lead. Bring it back around. Now they're both back on the deck. Now I can move to follow them. Unfortunately, this match is over. I haven't realised it at the moment, but I realise in the next few seconds, this is a 3-on-3 fight. There are 3 MiG-15 Biz still remaining on the enemy team. There's myself, an F-86 F2 and an F-86 F5 remaining. The F2 and the F5 are directly in front of me, engaging the 3 MiG-15 Biz. I'm now trying to close in. Raising the nose, trying to get a little bit of altitude. I peel off the left because I want them to come this way. Unfortunately, the F-86 F2 takes a critical strike from one of the MiG-15 Biz. And it was a fatal hit too. He's out of the match. The F-86A is high, but it's being engaged by 2 MiG-15 Biz at the same time. However, a third one is breaking off to engage me. This thing's coming out of a dive. It's going to be going so fast, I won't be able to turn around fast enough to get guns back on it. So I take a gamble that I might be able to take it out in a head-on, and at least take one more out of the fight. It dips, ducks the first shots, and executes me with a 37mm shot. And the F-86A5 died about 15 seconds later. So, Murphy's Law. Murphy's an arsehole. Fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.